Please welcome our next fighter making his way to the cage, the Black Ranger, Lance Bush.
It's Sunday night in Los Angeles, California, time for the University of Mixed Martial Arts. Coming to you from Club Nokia at LA Live, I'm Rich Slayton, joined by Donna Gonzalez to bring you this catchweight affair between the Black Ranger, Lance Bush, and Aaron Landry. On his way to the cage right now is Bush. The 27-year-old stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, training with Lagarto, Muay Thai, and Vic Melendez.
Lance is coming in with 10 plus years grappling experience in competitions. He has been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 3 years, Muay Thai for 2, and boxing for 2 years. He trained with Paragon for a while. He's just moved over to 10th Planet Van Nuys. And, you know, we've said it before, and we'll say it a million times. Good teams make good fighters, and this guy's coming in with some really good history with some good teams.
Yeah, great team over there. You can see Coach Alder Hampel giving a last-minute hug to Lance Bush. Alder over at 10th Planet Van Nuys brought us some great fighters here to the U. Lance made his last appearance a victory in March here against Scorpio Sky,
which is a really exciting fight. He's a sprinter at CSU Northridge, and he's been an athlete his whole life. So you always expect to see a great athletic performance out of guys who have been doing this their whole lives.
You know, one thing that you can see on the obvious side about Lance Bush is his length and athleticism. He's very, very long at 6'2", and super athletic.
Right.
But what you might not notice, unless you're paying attention to him as a fighter, is how clean of a striker is.
Yeah.
Yes, he's athletic and has some physical gifts, but he creates really excellent angles.
Right.
And we talked about this earlier tonight. Rather than being just looping hooks, that guy will bring some stuff straight down the pipes.
And his opponent, Aaron Landry.
Standing across the cage from Lance Bush tonight is 21-year-old Aaron Landry, fighting with Team Ring of Fire and Coach Vince Duchetta. Landry with 1 win and 1 loss. That win coming in March of 2015 here at the U against Daniel Lamas, a round 1 TKO.
Yes, and he comes from a Hapkido and Muay Thai background. He's been training at Ring of Fire for a few months, and he says he's really comfortable in the cage. He really loves the competition of it, and he actually got started fighting because he used to fight a lot as a kid and decided, hey, I should probably do this in a more controlled area.
We've seen a lot of growth from Aaron Landry. He was much more patient against Lamas in that win than his first fight, that loss against Armin Tovmasian.
He says he has become more comfortable. He's going to utilize his top game a lot, become more aggressive, and he says that he just comes in and just fights with a lot of heart.
Aaron Landry, no slouch in the aggression category.
No.
He is a closer. In that fight against Lamas, he hurt him with a knee early and just swarmed with punches and forced that referee to stop that fight. And that's going to be an interesting note here against Lance Bush, because Lance Bush, a very technical striker, you swarm and you can get caught with a counter strike very easily.
Especially with somebody who strikes as clean as Lance. You come in with those swarms, and Lance has the ability and the length to come right in between that and catch you.
Interesting note, this fight was originally billed at 170 pounds. Aaron Landry had some trouble making weight, which is why it's 175-pound catch weight. Lance Bush, though, did make weight and came down. He walks around at 185, so he came down 15 pounds to make that weight. That might be an interesting story here.
I think so. Yeah, let's hope that that Aaron, his weight cut doesn't affect him, because we all know that being dehydrated or being tired from that weight cut can really affect your performance in the cage, especially with as aggressive as Aaron likes to come out.
Well, let's get this thing started inside the cage with Salvador Arellano.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Our next fight is brought to you by bodybuilding.com, scheduled for 3 2-minute rounds in the welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a freestyle fighter. He steps into the cage with a record of 1 win and no losses. He stands at 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighed in at 170 pounds, representing Lagarto Muay Thai and 10th Planet Van Nuys from Los Angeles, California, the Black Ranger, Lance Bush. And his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. He comes to this fight with a record of 1 win and 1 loss. His 1 win coming by way of knockout. He stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighed in officially at 175 pounds. Fighting with Ring of Fire Martial Arts Academy from El Monte, California, Aaron Landry. Man in charge of the action, Franklin Aguirre.
Time to kick things off for this 175-pound catchweight bout. Lance Bush in the blue corner. Aaron Landry in the red corner. This is the University of Mixed Martial Arts. It starts here. Fighters touch gloves. Lance Bush takes center cage.
Early out with that kick.
And notice we see that clean, crisp striking of Lance Bush early.
And we see Aaron coming in for a little bit of a swarm early, like he said he was going to.
Notice the footwork game taking place right now. Both guys trying to create angles, lots of lateral movement.
Yeah. Aaron said he's been working on getting more technical. And his footwork is looking great.
Aaron throwing lots of power. Lance Bush, very accurate.
Wow.
Oh, look at that, straight right on the chin.
And he was able to catch his foot.
The Black Ranger, inside control.
Yeah, he's doing a great job at staying on top of him. There he goes. I was going to say, I'd like to see him get a little bit more heavy with those hips, and he did. He's either got to work to mount, which it looks like he is, bring that knee right over, or he's looking to take his back.
Looping hooks from Aaron Landry, but powerful and quick. A lazy jab from Landry.
Yeah, right now is when cardio is going to start coming into play.
And look at how much tighter Lance Bush throws that 1-2.
Aaron's going to need to keep his chin down and his hands up because he put it back, and that was just putting his chin out there for Lance to hit.
Aaron Landry sets up on that big right hand. Lance Bush stops him with the kick to the leg. Those outside leg kicks starting to pile up.
His hands are down at his waist right now. That's a really dangerous place to be. Now he's working for that guillotine. What he's going to need to do is get his arm up higher on the back of his neck, and then he'll be able to lock it in. But right now, his arm is way too low, and his head and Lance's head is going to be able to pop out.
So far, the story of this fight, the technical striking of Lance Bush and the speed and power of Aaron Landry.
I think they both came out with a lot of energy really fast, and maybe tapped into their gas tanks a little bit.
You know, you gotta wonder, Lance Bush having some trouble with that left eye. Was it an eye poke or was it a punch that just disturbed the eye? His corner now working on it. Now we've talked before about the sweating thing.
Yeah.
Notice how much Lance Bush is sweating and how little Aaron Landry is sweating.
Yeah, that is a huge indication of the weight cuts that he had problems with.
Dehydration, yeah.
I mean, if the water's not in there for your body to sweat out, you're not going to.
So that might be the long-term story of this fight, is who's going to last all 3 rounds.
There's the gas tank that I was talking about, yeah.
2 guys with this level of power and skill could put each other down at any moment.
Any moment. These guys are both really powerful. And it just takes one punch on the button, and we all know that you can go out.
Round number 2 on its way for the University of Mixed Martial Arts. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @UofMMA.
Lance's eye does seem to be bothering him a little bit still. He's squinting with a little bit. There we go.
Powerful shots from Landry, blocked by Bush.
He's going to need to get those hips lower. Well, he's got the trip.
We're talking about technique. Notice Aaron Landry really loading up on that big hook.
Yeah.
Lance Bush ducks under. That's how he got that clinch.
Yep. And he was able to get the trip. Again, he needs to stay heavy with his hips because Aaron is going to be able to escape if Lance isn't a little bit more heavy on him. But Aaron's got that. Well, he was trying to get that knee in, which is a good way to keep Lance from getting on top of him. And Lance looks like he's working to pass right now, which is where he wants to be. He's in half guard, which isn't the best place to be. It's not the worst place to be because you can't have control like that, but there's definitely better positions to be in.
Lance Bush finding some openings to throw some tight ground and pound.
And there goes Aaron with that sweep.
now Aaron Landry taking the back.
Looks like he's going for a suplex.
Lance Bush slippery. Maybe that sweat working in his favor.
Yeah. Both with a little bit of dirty boxing up against the cage.
Bit of a hockey fight here for a moment.
It does kind of look like
Lance
one.
Bush does have a hockey background.
Aaron's doing a good job keeping that knee up, which is a good Muay Thai defense. Stops those knees from coming in.
Lance Bush controls the wrist.
Neither of them being super effective. Aaron not being super effective in the defense. He got out though. And Lance not being super effective where
Notice
he
how sharp Lance was there as they come out of that clinch. Knowing Landry's about to throw a couple of big blows, Bush covers up, absorbs the damage.
But they both traded knees. I think they both took exactly the same amount of damage right in those last few seconds.
Much better showing this round from Aaron Landry.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting, even though Lance Bush does seem to have the grappling advantage in this fight, it seems like he has an even bigger advantage when they're on the feet.
I agree. I think he is winning the striking a little bit more, but
might he still be avoiding that striking even though he has the advantage because that's where he's more likely to be finished?
maybe. They seem to be spending a lot of time on the cage, and I don't see either of them being super dominant in that clinch.
Lance Bush nearly went down from that suplex attempt by Landry. The question now is going to be, what kind of fight does Aaron Landry want to have? Does he want to keep on the feet and try to catch Lance with that power? Or does he want to keep it dirty? Same question for Lance Bush, even though he seems to have a striking advantage. Does he want to avoid that because of the power of Aaron Landry? Well, you know what? We'll find out here in these final 120 seconds.
Here we go. Well, looks like Aaron wants to keep it standing, and he's going in hard.
Right hook, lancing right hook lands on the face of Lance Bush.
Nice takedown from Lance. He's gonna need to stay heavy.
This is smart fighting by Bush.
It isn't. Aaron really needs to get off the flat of his back. He's gonna need to use his hips to either get his leg underneath Lance or get to a side and escape from it, because there's nothing he can do from that position.
Bush maintaining position, but still staying busy with a couple of short punches.
And he looks like he's going to mount, and he did. And he looks like he's taking his back. No, he's in mount.
Bush in the full mount now, trying to posture up.
There he goes. Aaron using those hips to get him off of him, or it's called an oompa.
Landry timing those hips very well as soon as Bush postures up.
Doing that ground and pound. You know, the best description of ground and pound I ever heard, actually I read it on one of the BJJ forums, was a ground and pound is like trying to wrestle a baby bear while driving a car downhill with no brakes. And it kind of seems like that's what it looks like.
Landry trying to use the cage to spin out. Bush, though, staying tight on top.
That was, you know, Lance pushed away from the fence, which actually doesn't help him because he doesn't have anything to, of course you don't want to be up against the fence. But now his head's up against the fence, and you don't want your head against the fence and your feet away from it because you have nowhere to go and nowhere to push off of. And Lance is able to get in those ground and pound strikes, and Aaron's in a really bad position here. And the more he pushes off of him, he's going to give up the arm bar.
Bush now letting loose with some fire. Lance Bush putting an exclamation point on round number 3.
Yeah. I think that's what that was at the end. Aaron came out really strong, had some heavy strikes in the beginning, but getting your head up against that cage, that's what happens when you're on the ground. Aaron looks to be a little frustrated with himself. That's not a good feeling.
Well, you can always ask questions on the back end. It's easy to...
Absolutely. Hindsight is always 20/20. I could have done this, I could have done that. And, you know, the good thing about that is these fights, that's exactly what they're for. So you have a frustrating fight, and you go back and you watch the the tape and you learn from it. Also, even with the winners, you go back, what did I do? What can I improve on? How can I be even more dominant? So that's the beauty of the University of Mixed Martial Arts, is we are a learning institution, literally.
You know, we saw some great growth by Aaron Landry between his first fight and his second fight. This fight, we saw kind of like a very one-dimensional version of Aaron Landry.
I think
super powerful, super fast, but throwing a lot of the same techniques over and over again, and that's where Lance Bush really set himself apart. Where you could see those techniques coming, and you could see the fight IQ, him making choices as that stuff came in.
I think Lance fought a very smart fight, and it showed throughout the whole fight. There's Milton Arguello in his corner, and you know, Aaron said he had a tough camp and a tough weight cut. Maybe that's what showed up in the cage tonight.
Well, we definitely saw some great moments from Aaron Landry. And we saw a couple of shots where he could have ended the fight.
He had some heavy punches, absolutely.
He put leather on Lance.
Yeah, he did. And Lance is tough. He definitely suffered something going on with his eye. Yeah, that's one thing you can't say about either of these fighters. They are tough and they are going to, you know, take it to each other. But I think Lance just was able to execute his fight a little bit better tonight.
And that was the big difference, was who decided how and where this fight took place. We talked about that going into round number 3.
Yeah.
And Lance Bush had the ability to decide when and where they were going to exchange. The red towel.
And that's what puts you over in these in these short rounds.
2 minutes is not a lot of time.
No. 2 minutes can be forever, but it can also go by in the blink of an eye.
Aaron Landry, long future ahead of him, only 21 years old.
Yeah.
Plenty of room to grow and a great base to grow from.
Absolutely. Great attitude, too. You know, sportsmanship. These guys both showing a lot of sportsmanship now, but their coaches had a friendly exchange on Facebook and agreed to have a beer after the fights. That's always fun when, you know, teams can see this is a sport. We're all in it together.
To find out which coach is buying the beers tonight, let's go inside the cage with Salvador Arellano.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards. First judge scores the fight at 30-26. Second judge scores a fight 30-27. Third and final judge scores a fight 30-26. For your winner by unanimous decision, out of the blue corner, the Black Ranger, Lance Bush.
All right, I'm here with the winner, the Black Ranger, Lance Bush. Lance, how's it feel to come in here and pick up the victory?
Club Nokia, let me hear it. You of MMA. I go to a lot of promotions, man. You know, being a part of the sport, we go to a lot of different smaller amateur promotions and other pro promotions. I'm still bad at this. And I still say U of MMA, man, this is the best thing around. It's the best thing going.
Lance, it looked like you took some damage to your eye there. How much did that affect you throughout the fight?
I'm not gonna lie, at the end of the first round, I couldn't really see the rest out of it, so I don't know whether it was an eye poke, but I know I got a nice right, so either way, recovered and finished the fight with a win, so that's fine with me.
You guys had some fun exchanges. How important was it for you to avoid the brawl and keep this a technical fight?
That was important to me. I mean, I feel like I try to be as technical as possible. Getting caught with a big overhand right doesn't really play into that, but you know, winning the fight was the most important. You know, Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth, so I got hit in the eye, same thing.
That's right. Anybody you'd like to thank for your performance?
I have a lot of people that bought tickets, a lot of people that showed up that didn't buy tickets. I want to thank everybody that showed support. 10th Planet Van Nuys, Team Lagarto, Mars Fitness, my Rangers, everybody. Thank you so much. All
right, give it up for the Black Ranger, Lance Bush.
Your winner by unanimous decision, the Black Ranger, Lance Bush.